Well, a very warm welcome back to the Nordic World Championships in Falun, day 9, and on the schedule today, Nordic combined and jumping. And after 48 hours off, the world's best female skiers are back in action. The women's 4x5 kilometre starts at 1:30 local time. Well, the medalists from Sochi, the Olympic Games, where bibs 1, 2 and 3. Norway, the hot favourites there, and the hot favourites here, where bib number 5. Ski preparation lost them the race in Sochi, and it's already cost them medals here in Falun. The panic button has been pushed, and we'll just have to wait and see whether they can cope with the weather conditions today. If they can't, then Sweden have a chance. Let's have a chat to Roberto and Per and see what they feel.
Det stora snacket efter damernas 10 kilometer fritt, förutom att Charlotte Kalla vann.
So after the ladies 10 kilometer free, says Roberto, the talking point apart from Charlotte Kalla's gold was the fact that Norway failed with the waxing and the ski preparation.
Ja, men visst kommer det göra det. Det skapas ju en väldig osäkerhet när man inte känner
it creates a huge amount of uncertainty in the team if the equipment's not working for you, especially at the major championships. So, of course, they've had to reflect on what went wrong. Directly after the race, the Norwegian technicians all out on the track trying to work out what had gone wrong. Well, Per says before the race it was very, very snowy weather conditions, and that's tough to handle when the temperature's hovering around the 0 mark. And they have to find out what went wrong for the races coming up. And of course, Bjørgen Johaug way off the mark. Is it possible to see another Norwegian failure today? Well, Per thinks they've done more testing than anyone else, so once again they are the big favourites. So the 4x5 women's relay coming up shortly. Welcome, says Roberto. Well, it is a very warm welcome. Norway, of course, with numbers 1, 2 and 3 in the World Cup standings, plus Heidi Weng, who's 15 times been in the top 5 this season. They're unbeatable on paper, but not on snow if the weather has anything. If they don't crack the wax or get the grind, they could be in trouble. Easier said than done. Well, time for a quick break, and then we'll be back in Falun with your commentators Mike Dixon and David Goldstrom. Don't go away.
Good afternoon and welcome to sunny Falun. And a very good afternoon to all of you across Eurosport's international and Asia-Pacific services, and also those of you joining us across the Atlantic in the United States and Canada. Mike Dixon, together with myself, David Goldstrom, on a pretty lovely afternoon, and a massive crowd here, similar to the past weekend, to see if Sweden, the Olympic champions in the women's 4x5 kilometre relay, can add the world title to their roll of honour. And there you have the start list. Includes only Charlotte Kalla from that triumphant Olympic quartet from last year. And Norway, well, you remind yourself of Sochi last year. It was where the heads of the Norwegian wax team were hung low on a day when they really got it wrong. And today is all about their side of the bargain, extinguishing the ghost of Russia, because Norway, they've won the last 2 World Championships in the women's relay. Alongside me, Mike Dixon. Mike, conditions pretty good, but they have salted the whole of the course, and that was controversial 24 hours ago.
That was, David, but the issue once again, and it's a big issue, is talking about the weather. Yes, it's warm conditions, but it has created its problems. And, you know, part of cross-country skiing it's like Formula 1 car racing. Is a good engine, you need good tyres. In cross-country skiing, you need good skis and good preparation of the skis. And incredibly, the richest team at the races appears to be getting it wrong. They're not easy days to wax, but I cannot see them getting it wrong today, David. I would say it's almost impossible to get it wrong at minus half a degree and 2 degrees warm weather air-wise.
But as Per Ellison said, And he's a triple world champion, an Olympic relay medalist. You know, when something goes wrong, uncertainty comes in to that, you know, multi-million-dollar wax wagon. They have been testing furiously, as you saw when you were out on the track yesterday.
Yep.
And everybody really, from a Norwegian point of view, holding their breath.
Confidence, you're so right. Confidence is massively destabilised with the richest team at the races, and the day that it snowed, they wear out immediately after the race. A massive team of wax testers and technicians trying to get it right, trying to understand the mistakes they made. Sweden, on the other hand, and Sophie Blecourt going first, have got it so right here. Smaller wax team, less finance going into it, but getting it right. And Victoria Carl there, some 1 minute off the pace in the skiathlon and the classic technique. But Germany, with a bronze medal at the Olympics, have some confidence and have been resting the key players. Heidi Weng has been off form a little, certainly from her performances since Christmas. She has dropped down, and she was left some 30 seconds behind the pace in the skiathlon. She's hoping to have all of her form back today. So a total of 14 teams here lined up and ready to go.
So under starters orders for the women's 4x5 kilometer relay.
Just in 10 seconds, the 50-odd thousand people in the stadium will have a pause, hopefully, as the gun goes. And then it's out 2 times around a 2.5 kilometer track in the classic technique. The first 2 athletes will be doing that, then the second 2 athletes 2 times around a 2.5 in the freestyle. And they're off. The gun goes, a good and clean start there from all 14 nations. And it really will be about trying to find your comfort zone, your early position. And by my reckoning, the Norwegians and Heidi Weng will want to go out there and try and destroy the rest of the field. Try and hang on to that break early, but it will not be easy for Heidi Weng, because Sophie Blecourt has had a great World Championship so far and very strong in the classic technique.
Well, Mike, a really exciting prospect here. And of course, despite all the speculation about Norway, really the bookmakers had no alternative but to make them absolutely favourites. 5-4, Sweden, the Olympic champions, 9-2.
Well, that's I think of course, in terms of 4 athletes together with Weng, Johaug, Jakobsen and Bjørgen, they are the strongest 4 in the World Cup standings, and you'd be foolish to not have them as favourites. But last year at the Olympic Games, you could only see them winning. They'd won every relay prior to the Olympics, yet they finished in 5th position. The biggest surprise, I think, in cross-country Olympic history. Today, though, David, the tracks are, you mentioned, have been salted. There's quite an icy track, actually, and it should be quite fair and equal for everybody.
So out they go on the first 1,500 meters. As ever, coming out of the stadium, it's a climb. And another interesting factor is about the Olympic silver medalist, Finland's. Finland, who've had not much success at these championships, yet to achieve a medal. And Mike, to be honest, realistically, this is Finland's last opportunity to really get a medal at these championships in any discipline. They've had no fortune in ski jumping, none in Nordic combines. And if they were not to get a medal today, it's an incredible statistic. And one I only started to think about last night was the last time Finland went home from a Nordic Ski World Championships without a medal, 1931, 84 years ago.
Well, and as soon as you started talking about that, Saarinen seemed to hear you go to the front, and they really they really need to work as a team here. Saarinen, Niskanen, Ropinen, and Parmakoski. Well, Parmakoski was Latin Maki last year. She married this year, and she was part of the team last year at the Olympics. I think the Finns, with their strength being in the classic with Saarinen and Niskanen. Ropinen is a good but not the best freestyle athlete, and Parmakoski is the weaker of all four, and they put her last, so they're hoping they can stay with the race and just hoping that Parmakoski can hang on in there in the medals.
Yeah, they're not the only teams, though. We have to consider the United States. I mean, an excellent performance the other day, getting 2 medals in the 10-kilometer freestyle. And remember, they were gold medalists in the previous World Championships in the team sprint. And they've got a team, really, which you cannot rule out here. I think the Americans have got a decent chance of actually running for a medal. It may well be the bronze, but Johnson, Brennan, Stefan and Diggins is a really good quartet.
It's very good. And look at Bjornsson now, David. There she is, second place. Now, 4 days ago in the skiathlon, the 7.5 classic, she was 34 seconds deficit to the girl behind her, of course, Heidi Weng. And I think that the American strategy is survival. Bring the positivity the American team have. They'll be saying, right, we need to bring another factor of 2% with confidence and lasting power in this race. Heidi Weng, David, she would be at the front if she was feeling strong. Clearly not feeling strong. In 5th place, the Norwegian. Skis are fine, though. It's gripping well. This is Mini Murderbakken, or Mini Murderbakken, Mini Killer Hill, and it is a very, very steep, continuous climb.
So on the left, wearing 1 there, Sophie Blecker, the pathfinder for Sweden in the first of the 2 classic legs. Right alongside her there, Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, and now Heidi Weng moving up on the outside, realizing that she needs to get a better track position here. And Heidi Weng's a bit mysterious, really, in a sense that she's had a really good World Cup season. Multiple achievements on the podium and thoroughly deserves her places, but just hasn't had either the best of fortune or perhaps the best of equipment in the races that she's been running here. And it's a little tricky to understand, you know, where she's been and where she is now.
I think with the great performances she's had this season, I think she's slightly over-raced. 23-year-old, so talented, but you can take on too much in terms of races, and she's lost a whole lot of form right now. The descents, and that's a slight worry for the Swedes.
So the first 2.5 kilometers completed, and you can see here it's all about Russia and Finland at the moment, who've opened up over Heidi Weng, the representative of the defending world champions Norway. And then you've got Sweden behind, and Germany on the first leg there, Victoria Karl. And Germany, who were 7th in the last World Championships, and Sadie Bjornsson, after that unfortunate fall, actually dropping back through the field. Right at the back there, wearing 8. That is Francesca Bodin of Italy. Now, we're coming up to the point where Sophie Caldwell, now we'll see whether this was unforced.
No, she caught the tail end of Dotsenko, the Russian skis, and she had nowhere to go. Her body weight was, her body energy was going one way. Her weight wanted to catch her fall, but the ski was trapped.
And as you saw from the flags there, running up that slope into the wind, but now out on the second 2.5 kilometers that they have to do before they come into the first changeover here.
And David, look at Blecker now. She lost 250, 300 meters on the descent, but her wax is very good on the climb, but it's certainly very, very slow glide on the descent. And it's about marrying in that mix of good grip, but also good glide.
And also staying out of the tracks for a good part there. But I'm really impressed with Aino-Kaisa Saarinen. Of course, she is a fantastic big race performer, really, Saarinen. And she'll be as conscious as anybody in that Finnish team about the responsibility to at least get 1 medal here, whatever colour. And you also have to consider, Mike, you know, that, OK, Norway were in no man's land because of the equipment problems they had last year. But you have to put into account the fact that actually Finland only missed the gold in the Olympics by half a second, and Germany were 0.9 behind. It was an incredible finish.
It was amazing, and it was quite amazing. Kala was handed over to, I think, in 5th place, but 25 seconds behind. She pulled all of that time back to take the gold. Heidi Weng's finding something, David, from somewhere, some energy, some confidence returning. Saarinen needs to stick with her.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think what was happening with Heidi Weng was that she couldn't find a rhythm in those first couple of kilometers, and now she has found that rhythm. She's now striding really effectively. Look here, that's the opener for Germany, Victoria Karl, and you can see, look at the shoulders rocking from side to side, and she is under real pressure. And Sophie Caldwell, Sadie Bjørnsen, has sadly not recovered from that unfortunate fall.
Do you know, I think it knocks your confidence. She was doing so well, she was in 3rd place, and then all of a sudden she takes that tumble, and she seems to have lost a lot of the spark, a lot of the drive, and the input she had in this race.
Yeah, but I also think that unfortunately the fall came at the moment that there was an injection of pace into the race, and you know, maybe she felt a bit winded and lost her position, lost her confidence, and now the Americans, who I rated as a reasonable shout for at least the podium, it's a hard job to get back into this, because the next leg, well, you can see there, it's Charlotte Kalla who is getting ready to take over from Sophie Blekur, and for Norway, it's Therese Johaug. And I think those two are going to put even more pace into this race, which is bad news for everybody else.
It really is. And Heidi Weng, she looked so petrified earlier, David. I think she was so tense that first rotation of 2.5. She's now back into the class act that she is. And she's got her confidence back. She's attacking this climb. Mini Murder Hill, Murderbakken again. Saarinen doing a great job. Now Sophie Blekur needs to try and close this gap to give Kalla a chance.
Heidi Weng, who was the pathfinder last year in the Olympics, but she was also the opener in the World Championships in 2013 when they were successful. And Norway have a fantastic record recently in this women's relay. They won in 2013, they won in 2011, and back in Whistler in 2010 they were the Olympic champions. Before that, Finland had a very strong quartet that won the title in 2007 and 2009. Russia's last victory came at Torino in 2006. And then Germany, well, you've got to go back to 2003 in Val di Fiemme to find their last success in the World Championships.
Well, Heidi Weng still setting the pace here. And we haven't really mentioned the Russian team. Anastasia Dotsenko, she's in this mix. She's in 4th position. And I do think this is a stronger Russian team than we saw at the Olympics, where they placed at home, they placed 6th. And Dotsenko and Tanizhina are new members to the team this time around. And Zhukova and Shekaleva were part of that Olympic team last year. Now Blekur, it's 5.9 seconds, and her skis are not running as fast from the top of this climb. It is an easy and very fast descent into the stadium.
Well, we're just really hoping that this is going to be a truly competitive relay. Over the years, there have been some pretty straightforward runs for gold, but particularly in recent times by the Norwegian team, not last year, of course. But now you can see coming up here, these gaps really opening up there. Poland, Kowalczyk in their quartet as well. Germany, 37 seconds. And here comes the American, and this is Sadie Bjørnsen. And that is a big gap, 46 seconds. It puts real pressure on Rosie Brennan, who's going to take over from her for the second classic leg.
You're back at a minute now. You're really, that's a long deficit, a big, huge margin there for the Italian team. And this is the easy descent back down.
So, Mike, the first classic leg pretty well done. And now you can see this real chase here. And this is Saarinen at her best, isn't it? really gutsy, really determined, not put off by Heidi Weng at all, and coming down, and Saarinen is going to hand over to Kerttu Niskanen, who's had some pretty good results here. Kerttu, who was 7th in the classic individual sprint and 4th in the skiathlon. Those are good stats. Without getting a medal, Kerttu Niskanen now taking on the responsibility for the Finns. For Norway now, it is Tiny Teresa, and Tiny Teresa Johaug, of course, a gold medal in the skiathlon, but actually in the 10 kilometers freestyle, 27th, and we never thought we'd look at a couple of the result pages and not find a Norwegian amongst them. I mean, Marit Bjørgen was 31st.
It has been quite amazing once again, and part the weather. It's about weather, dealing with it, but they didn't deal with it well in terms of their equipment. And but now we've got Sweden 12.3 behind, so Kalla has a huge task to try and close down Therese Johaug at this stage. Blekur's skis were slow, and Saarinen so fast into the stadium, she managed to get that initiative on the handover.
So this has not gone to plan for the Swedes, because the plan was that actually Blekur would be right up on the money and then would hand to Charlotte Kalla, who would try in this leg to build a cushion of advantage that would support her later teammates when we go freestyle, Rydqvist and Nielsen. So there you can see at the first exchange there, Finland and Norway, and then Finland and Norway, and then Sweden with work to do.
Italy is 117, and the Martin Toprani taking over from Baudin. Then the French team of Auchan handing over to Celia Aymon.
So the situation hasn't changed, Mike. Charlotte Kalla's chasing, and here also in chase mode is Rosie Brennan for the United States. She, like the woman who preceded her, Sadie Bjørnsen, both from the APU Nordic Ski Center in America. Bjørnsen, a decent 20th place in the skiathlon. Rosie Brennan, top 30, but unfortunately things didn't go right for Sadie Bjørnsen, and now it's a real tough task for Rosie Brennan. And I think the problem is that they've got two great skiers on the last leg, the Americans, Elizabeth Stevens and Jessica Diggins. But, you know, is the deficit just going to be too great for them? It's
very difficult to bridge the gap. 50 seconds at the moment. That may expand to about 1:15 at the changeover. And the way that Niskanen is attacking it, David, she's kept short and sharp stride up this steepest of climb, and it's leaving Kalla asking herself some questions. She's got all the support, but she's not able to close that gap at the moment.
But of course the Finns have got this fantastic motivation. We haven't got a medal. They'll be conscious of the fact that they've got no medal at these championships. They'll also be conscious of the fact that plan A for the Swedes didn't happen. Now they've got an advantage. For goodness sake, don't give it away. Johaug's just found her rhythm, biding her time.
Yes, she is. I was on this hill, David, after the race yesterday, finished the men's race, and Johaug was actually coming up and down this hill. You're not really supposed to ski against the traffic, but she was testing her pace up this climb, and she was looking frustrated. The skis weren't working well, but for certain they're working well today. And the crowd are beginning to go mad, because it looks like Kalla is beginning to close the gap. That's great news for Sweden.
Yeah, but this is a really good job here by Niskanen, keeping that good rhythm going up there. Now the gap back to Sweden was what, a dozen seconds at the changeover.
It was. I thought it might have closed. Well, it has. That's not bad. That's not bad. It depends on the glide. If her skis, David, are not gliding, or let's say to the same as Blekur, she's going to lose time on this descent.
And here you have Poland. It was Kubenska on the first of the rotations, but now the familiar figure of Justina Kowalczyk. Kowalczyk, an absolutely excellent bronze medal in the team sprint with Sylwia Jaśkovic. Those two have worked and trained very hard for that and got a really good reward. And of course, for Justina, it's the 30 kilometers, the last race on the women's schedule here, which is really in her mind.
And I think this is a very good tester, a warm-up, David. Now, what's happening to Johaug? She's going awfully wide there. Oh no, it was the best line, actually. And this is the descent into the stadium. And it's a long, fast. I think Cala's skis are going fantastically well. I'm sure that's gap down to 6 seconds now, David. Look at Johaug's skis. This is all in the descent, pulling somewhat 25 metres ahead.
Oh, I bet the servicemen in the Norwegian waxing wagon are really looking at this with absolute delight.
But once again, David, the Swedes will be saying, hey, we've done a better job because Cala is actually travelling much faster than Johaug. Well done, the Swedes.
So that gap, the last time we saw it was 9 seconds. It's certainly a lot closer, and Cala's got that lease of life here. Remember, this is the first of their 2 rotations, so actually she's almost done what she wanted to do, which is to get back on terms.
What a task. I mean, it's at this level, it's so hard when they're so close to pull back 12 seconds in 2.5 kilometres. Great job so far. She hasn't pulled it back yet, but still a great job from Cala.
Yeah, but she really needs to throw everything at this Cala on the last 2.5 kilometres of her journey, because she's going to hand over to Rydquist and Nilsson, and they're going to be up against Jakobsen and Bjørgen. Now, Stina Nilsson is fantastic. She's a huge rising star, but you've got to give her something to work with.
You've got to, she has to be in the race. Niskanen now a vital part for Finland. They need to try and, or she needs to try and stick with Johaug and Cala all the while. Is closing on Finland, of course, and the time is a lot more positive to Norway as well.
Now, this is Johaug. In her mind, it's all about putting this relay gold medal to bed. She wants to really wind this up as much as she can, so that when she hands over to Jakobsen for the first of the freestyle legs, then what she's going to hand over with is effectively, with still 10 kilometres to go, a lead that is decisive.
Very, very much so. There's Kowalczyk. I was just looking, David, at the last 5 major championships. That's including 2, World Championships and Olympic Games. Kowalczyk has set the fastest time in the classic, in the first or second classic leg in the relays. And that was all except Vancouver. Unfortunately, the team was disqualified after that event, and she probably set the fastest then as well.
And here's Cala. She's almost on the ski tails there of Kerttu Niskanen. But she's got to worry about Johaug. She really needs to get past Niskanen as quickly as she can now. Niskanen at the moment, I don't think to Cala is a particular problem, but it's Johaug all the time being able to build on that advantage.
And you just sense, look at little Therese Johaug, there she is. She's as soon as she got rid of Niskanen, some new energy came from somewhere, and she's absolutely inspired now. All the ghosts of poor waxing, poor skis have gone. She's back to her best racing. Look at this. Can you believe it? When she was 10, 11, 12, the coaches said, this girl is too small, her technique is too fast, we can't really change her, and she will not be a winner. And they got it so wrong. She's brilliant.
She's also got something to prove to herself, that all the Norwegians really incredibly unhappy about what happened in the 10-kilometre freestyle race. You know, it happens. Everybody from time to time will have a bad day at the office, and that's exactly what happened to the Norwegian women. It was uncharacteristic, but it did remind us of what happened in Sochi last year, and there's been a real determination to make sure. I think the other thing that we can see is that the whole of the course is really holding up a lot better than yesterday. I mean, there was real criticism. Matthias Fredriksson, famous Swedish cross-country skier, he was pretty scathing about the International Ski Federation, the fact that only 400 meters of yesterday's course was salted, whereas today they made the decision to do the whole thing. And I know Thomas Wassberg, the legendary Swede who's commanding the team that grooms the trails every night, we see him going out at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night to get the job done. And I think, you know, he would have hoped that, you know, they could have avoided that sort of criticism yesterday.
People are going to complain no matter what, but I did ski around the track yesterday after that race, and I must admit that the parts, the 2 little sections that were salted were so much better than the very warm and wet conditions on all the rest of the track. Well, Therese is attacking and attacking. This is her strength, with a very light body weight, her incredible tempo, and the gap seems to be opening.
Cala's got past Kerttu Niskanen, who's doing the right thing, which is to stay right on her ski tails there and get as fast a ride back into the stadium. But you can see Kalla also accelerating up the hill.
Look at the attack from Teresa Johaug now. She's got the initiative and she's going to take herself to the limit to try and get Jakobsen as much of a margin as possible in the freestyle.
So at the moment it's familiar countries here, because when you look back at, where shall we say, at 7.5 kilometers, you know, Poland 47 seconds back, Russia 51, United States 63, Italy 69, and then France 1 minute 40, Slovenia over 2 minutes off the pace out of the 14 teams that started today's race. And here we're coming up to what is effectively the 9-kilometer point, so just 1 more kilometer of classic, and you can see the determination both in terms of Johaug but also in terms of Kalla. And the interesting thing will be, both of their skis were gliding well when they came back into the stadium. Will Kalla just be able to nibble away a little bit more?
Well, remember, it was 9 seconds, David, and she got it down to 4. Well, it's 8.7. If she can get it back down to 3 or 4, she'll give, of course, Rydqvist as much a chance as possible. Niskanen really suffering right now.
So there is the tall Astrid Jakobsen as we go back to Justyna Kowalczyk. Going through at 9 kilometers now, but only Norway, Sweden and Finland have passed that mark, and the Polish women were about 47 seconds back, their team, and you can see Justyna's lost time. I'm not surprised about that because of the injection of pace by Johaug and also Kalla. Incredible,
and Kowalczyk was 41 seconds on the handover, and she's lost a huge. She's certainly not going to set the fastest time today. This is it. It's like a 1 kilometer run back into the stadium, mostly easy. Kalla's still there. In fact, she's got the faster glide again.
So Johaug coming down and into the back straight as we would see it. On the left of the picture there is Charlotte Kalla trying to stay in the glide.
Oh, the skis are great. Look at this gap. It was 9 seconds again, down to about 3 once more.
And this is where Teresa again comes into her own, but Charlotte Kalla will have none of this. She wants to put Sweden, the Olympic champions, back on her terms. So it is the world champions versus the Olympic champions. Norway in red, Sweden in white as they come round. And of course it's going to be Sweden, Charlotte Kalla handing on to Maria Rydqvist. And for Norway it's going to be Astrid Jakobsen, who takes over in the red race suit.
What a fantastic leg, David, from Charlotte Kalla. She had 12 seconds to find and she's found most of it. Absolutely brilliant.
And Maria Rydqvist away within that 40-meter box that they have to touch each other to make sure that they exchange legally. And in comes Kerttu Niskanen, and she's handed over to Riitta-Liisa Ropponen. Very decent 8th place race from Riitta-Liisa in the skiathlon. Just a bit concerned though that she just doesn't have the pace to actually get back into contention with the front two. The concern for Ropponen, I think, is at all means she must protect the bronze medal.
Yeah, and look, well, it's Poland here, and let's be honest, from here on in the Polish team gets a little weaker on the next leg, but of course we've got Jaśkowiec going last, who's a very strong player. Marsic next, and she'll lose a little bit of time. Russia have faded quite badly on this leg. Tanyzhina just losing time massively to the leaders. And it's so important for Maria Rydqvist to try. She was almost closing the gap on the Norwegian and Jakobsen, and that makes her journey so much easier when she's in the slipstream. Oh, I think strangely Rydqvist took a fall there. Put her ski pole in between her skis, just tense and panicky.
Well, she's really under pressure because I think when they were discussing the game plan with the coaches, the plan was that Charlotte Kalla would have been in the lead and building a cushion to hand over to Maria Rydqvist. But that just hasn't happened. And now you can see the chase from Finland coming on here. Riitta-Liisa Ropponen seeing that as long as she stays in visual contact with the woman ahead of her, then Finland have got a real good chance of getting a bronze medal out of this.
American team, David, have handed over in 5th place. So that's behind Poland, then Russia, then Germany, then France, then Italy.
Yeah, but 100 seconds now.
She's down again, a second time.
Oh, and this time it's more serious.
Oh, in fact, sorry, that is the reverse angle. I beg your pardon. How could, I mean, she just lost all that momentum that she had. She was closing the gap. She's lost some 7 seconds there.
And just reverting to the Americans, of course, 100 seconds behind, Mike. And, you know, that's a fantastic challenge to Elizabeth Stephen and to Jess Diggins. Of course, their tails are up. I mean, Stephen, we thought might be closer to the medals than she's been so far. 11th in the skiathlon, 10th in the 10-kilometer freestyle race. But, of course, Jess Diggins, of course, a silver medalist in that 10-free. And you just don't know if the Swedes and if the Finns, for whatever reason, start to run into trouble, then maybe there is a door, a tiny window of opportunity for the Americans.
I think so, and Pärmäkoski is the Finland's weakest link, if you like, going last, so there is a chance there. But Maria Rydqvist just so tense, fearful, and under pressure with 50,000 people cheering her on, mostly Swedes. She certainly has felt that pressure, and hopefully the second lap of this 2.5 kilometer she'll relax a little more.
Well, it's settled into a reasonably predictable pattern, if you like, when you look back over the years. But these are big gaps here now, and Norway, who had a storming start to these World Championships, now sort of regaining their supremacy in this women's relay. And that's why the bookmakers would only give you 5-4, which is, in a way, quite generous when you think of the talent in their quartet.
Yeah, phenomenal. And the weather, the conditions are sound. It's difficult to get it wrong today in terms of skis or waxing. And Finland, this is a strong performance from Riitta-Liisa, the 36-year-old Finn, coming to the end of her career, really.
So Norway from Sweden, from Finland. So into the second rotation, third leg skating, and Astrid Jakobsen for Norway pushing on. As you see, Poland, and this is Evelina Marcic, and she's yet to complete her first rotation of 2.5 kilometers. But perhaps the most telling statistic, Mike, is the fact that when we move from classic into freestyle, Charlotte Kalla had got the gap down to just under 2 seconds. Now, after the first 2.5 kilometers in the freestyle leg, Norway are now 10 seconds plus ahead of Sweden and 16 ahead of Finland and 74 seconds ahead of Poland.
It's a strong gap, and look at the medals here. You're almost 1 minute back to Poland in 4th place, so we're looking like a set 3 at the top there who are going to take the medals. I just hope, David, that for Rydqvist's sake that she can relax, and for me she's looking much more relaxed now in 2nd place, and she may close this gap, but she's got Ropponen on her case.
Yeah, Ropponen, who is actually wonderfully consistent at races of up to 10 kilometers freestyle. When it gets beyond that, it's a little beyond her, which is interesting that she's chosen to really concentrate on long distance races after these championships. But she's doing a sterling job now. And of course, Finland were the Olympic silver medalists behind Sweden by just half a second. And so this is looking really good because these first 3 teams have really pulled away from the rest.
They have an incredibly easy track, this by any previous World Championship standard. All they've done is gone up for like 950 meters, back down, and this is a very easy and simple section. And then we've only got the climb in the stadium area, which is a difficult test.
Yeah, so Sweden, who've had 2 great days in the last 48 hours. 2 great evenings downtown in the centre of Falun, with the successes in the 10-kilometre freestyle from Charlotte Kalla, and then the sensational performance by Johan Olsen to win the men's 15 free yesterday in such a manner. It was the only race strategy that was open to him, but his execution was amazing. And talking last night after the medal ceremony, he was saying, you know, he'd gone away from the family for 7 weeks. He put 100 hours of intensive training in here, as you see Ropponen taking on Rindqvist, and Finland into silver. Wow. And now Sweden have the job of holding on here to see whether they can reverse that.
Rindqvist, well, she's still looking unstable on her skis, but Ropponen will drag her on, hopefully, so to give Stina Nilsson a chance for the Swedes. Ropponen doing an amazing job over the 5 kilometres.
And meanwhile, Astrid Jakobsen just calmly moves forward. Jakobsen, who really has taken over the slot that Styrer used to have in the World Championships, and these two having a real ding-dong battle. Just 1 or 2 more reflections from Johan Olsen I thought were really interesting last night. But he was really so strong in his support for his wife, who had supported him in going away. And then there was Thomas Northug, when he's not out of the story. Thomas Northug, who was saying, well, I don't think I'm actually in love with Johan Olsen, but I have to admit he is a bit of a legend.
Oh, I'm pleased that he recognised that, and Olsen absolutely is a legend. Petter Northug, well, he respects him, that's one good thing. But I think that Olsen had his pop back at him as well later.
I think the other thing, Mike, that was really interesting about Olsen last night in the studio was the fact that he said that he still valued the 50-kilometre goal from Val di Fiemme higher than what he just produced. But look at this, a real ding-dong battle here. Maria Rindqvist with Desire on the right of your picture, on the outside there. There you have Ropponen not giving in as they get to the top of the bridge. Remember, they'll be handing over to superstars on their respective final legs. And of course it's Jakobsen to Magic Marit, who hasn't quite been so magic here. And also for Sweden, Rindqvist to Stina Nilsson. And for Finland, it's Pärmäkoski, formerly Latenmäki, who will take over for Finland. So 5,000 metres to go, and the gap was 10 seconds when the previous representatives of those 3 nations took over, Norway to Sweden. And now you can see Finland 17 off the pace there. Well, the situation is that Marit Bjørgen is on her way to bring home the goal for Norway. And these two are playing cat and mouse, because when they left the stadium they were 17 seconds behind. Now they're 25 seconds behind, and it's almost, Mike, as if Finland and Sweden, represented by Pärmäkoski for Finland and Stina Nilsson for Sweden, have accepted that silver and bronze is going to be their fight.
I can't understand it. Marit Bjørgen did go out strong. She looked very, very convincing, but then she seemed to back off. But Stina Nilsson immediately just tucked in behind Pärmäkoski and hasn't chased this gold. She's protecting her silver, but I still think she should be chasing the gold. There's a chance, although Marit Bjørgen is now miles ahead. She's so strong, and well, maybe Stina Nilsson is just protecting that silver, or trying to go tactically on the silver rather than chasing the gold.
Yeah, and this is joyful for Marit Bjørgen and also for Teresa Johaug, because what it means is that they're having the easiest ride in view of the 30-kilometre race that they'll tackle later in the week. And so this is really good news for them. Let me bring you up to date with other teams now. We know about Norway and Finland and Sweden. Poland, they went through the 15-kilometre mark and they were 91 seconds behind. The Americans closing on them. They are actually 97 seconds behind at the handover. So America looking as if they've got every chance to get fourth. But then Germany are only 3 seconds behind the United States. So there's a real battle there for fourth, fifth and sixth. Then beyond that, the Russians have been really disappointing. They're 2:20 behind at the handover. France 2:35 behind. Italy 3:06. Slovenia 3:39. And these two are going to provide the finale really for us, aren't they? Because Marit Bjørgen, I can visualize it already, Mike. She's going to come in the stadium, go down the back straight, climb over the bridge, come into the final 100, pick up a Norwegian flag and saunter to the finish line.
Do you know, David, I think she can saunter from here because Finland and Sweden are just at the top of the descent now. They've started the journey down the hill. Bjørgen has created a massive gap, and Parma Koski, with the greatest respect, is not the fastest of freestylers. They put her last leg so that she could try and hold the lead, but there wasn't a lead, and Stina Nielsen, I think, needs to pick the pace up.
Well, 2.5 kilometers to go, and Marit Bjørgen absolutely under no pressure whatsoever. There she's going out of the stadium, and they have got 150 to 200 meters to make.
I'd say it's a huge margin. It was, what, 17 seconds. They're nowhere near the marker, the timer for the 2.5 kilometer. Stina Nielsen seems a little, maybe there's something wrong with her today. Maybe the pressure's getting to her. She's had a look back there to see who's threatening her, but there's nobody threatening because, what, it's over a minute gap to the next athlete. It's a minute 15, so she's safe in third.
I just should mention that Australia, Kazakhstan and Estonia are all involved in today's race. All those three nations have been lapped. And so this is real cat and mouse between these two. And I know what's in Stina Nielsen's mind. She's going to make the Finn do all the work.
Sweden, 38 seconds behind, and Finland has no level at all in the championship.
So Marit Bjørgen almost out on a training run.
Well, I mean, she really kicked hard, David, from the handover. And psychologically, I think she destroyed both Stina Nielsen and Parma Koski. Destroyed them early on mentally, and then just leaving this battle for the silver medal. But Bjørgen, she still needs to keep the pace strong. She still needs to protect herself and take the fast descents carefully or comfortably, but not under pressure anymore.
Well, what you're talking about is focus and concentration, and I doubt that Marit Bjørgen is going to lose either on the journey home. Here you can see Stina Nielsen. I think she has, and right from the get-go when she took over, accepted the fact that the goal was beyond her, and therefore she's looking for a third silver medal, and I think will get it. It's quite simply because I think she's super confident that she can out-sprint Parma Koski to the line.
I think, yeah, I'm with you on that, absolutely. Hey, great battle going on there as America and Germany and Poland are together now. Jessie Diggins really working hard and leading that trio.
Yeah, just 1 second between those three nations as they go out on their final 2,500 meters. And Jess Diggins will be really determined to make sure that they are fourth. They've never been on the podium in a traditional relay. Of course, they won the team sprint 2 years ago. That was their first foray into winning team events. And I did have high hopes, but I think from the moment that we saw Sadie Bjørnsen fall, lose her confidence, maybe winded, they were just out of the race.
It's a real pity. But of course, 2 years ago in Val di Fiemme, the American team here in this relay finished fourth position, 1:12 behind, and that was a very good day and close to the bronze medal.
So there's Jess Diggins out front there, being tracked by Sylvia Jašković, who is one heck of an improved athlete, and of course, like Jess Diggins, is a medalist at these championships. Jess has got the silver from the 10 free, and Jašković the bronze from the team sprint. And Marit Bjørgen, well, this is the pace. She's comfortable at racing. She can't actually. She'd have more problems if she really slackened off and raced at a lower speed.
Indeed, and talking to a lot of the experts, the technical experts in Norway and Sweden, they're saying a lot of the athletes, and it's so true, are used to very, very compact tracks like this, and when it's wet conditions, as it was yesterday, it is absorbing a lot of their energy. They don't know how to change gear and try and float over the surface of the skis. Nielsen needs to go, and I think she needs to go soon if they want silver. Parma Koski is a real fighter up ahead of her.
Yeah, well, what Parmakoski has realised is that she can't afford to lead this to the last 100 metres. She's got to try and take the sting out of Nielsen on these crucial final climbs and also on the descent into the stadium.
But I think it's bad news for the Finns, David, because Stina Nielsen's skis are gliding, I think, a whole lot faster than Parmakoski, so she's trying to get a lead as well. Well, let's compare the skis here. I'm quite sure the Swedes are faster. A little there. She took the corner, much better race line, and she's still allowing Parmakoski. She's confident in her turn of pace at the end, is Stina Nielsen. Didn't want to lead it up this one.
And I understand totally what she's doing, Mike. I mean, she's saying to herself, why do I need to take a risk when I'm that confident that, you know, I can beat her over the last 100?
It's hunting, isn't it? It's just playing. Yeah. It's like a cat playing with a little mouse. Parmakoski, is she going to let her go forward? I think she should. Oh, she's off. Parmakoski needs to keep, if she can, aware of what's happening behind her. She was too late.
She opened the door there for Stina Nielsen. Now, of course, Parmakoski actually, theoretically, is in the better position being behind. But now, let's have a look at the glide. They're coming right past us.
I think Stina Nielsen got it so wrong. There's a 25-30 km/h wind coming into Stina Nielsen's head. She's lost all the advantage of the glide.
Meanwhile, Marit Bjørgen's coming home. The director hasn't realised she's got to... Oh, he has now. Here comes Marit Bjørgen to retain the world title for the Norwegians, to wipe out the memory of Sochi, and Stina Nielsen has got those valuable few metres clear of Parmakoski, and she ain't going to give them up from here. And there you can see Stina Nielsen, this for her third silver medal of the championships. The Olympic champions have been beaten by Norway. You could say that normal service has been resumed, but they are in silver. And Finland, what a relief, Mike.
It is a relief for Finland. And they tried, they really tried throughout. They wanted the gold, they tried for the silver, but they'll be happy with bronze.
So Heidi Weng, Therese Johaug, Astrid Jakobsen, Marit Bjørgen. And there, the Finns, that is, really praising Parmakoski for her effort there. But here are the gold medal winners as the Americans come home here ahead of Germany and, well, Poland moving just behind the Americans. Germany struggling there on that last leg.
Jaškovic is a real finisher, a real sprinter, but Jessie Diggins is a real fighter.
Yeah, and Nicole Fessel is the athlete in third place in this little gaggle here. And Jessie Diggins, of course, a silver medalist ahead of Jaškovic, the bronze medalist. And the way she took that bridge has made sure that the Americans are going to come home in fourth place. And it's going to be one of those days when they look back at the video at the beginning of the race when they're going to say, if only.
God.
So fourth to the United States, fifth to Poland, and Germany, they'll be disappointed to be there in sixth place.
Well, after that bronze medal for Germany at the Olympic Games last year, I think they will be really disappointed with a sixth today. They would have thought at least a fourth.
So Norway, Heidi Weng, Therese Johaug, Astrid Jakobsen and Marit Bjørgen. Normal service has been resumed, Mike, in the women's 4x5 kilometre relay. But all credit to Sweden, Sophie Bleckor, Charlotte Kalla, Maria Rydqvist and Stina Nielsen, who take the silver, and the bronze goes to Finland. Aino-Kaisa Saarinen, good opening leg. Kerttu Niskanen, who was going well but just faded towards the end of her rotations. Rita-Lisa Ropponen, aggressive, excellent, and then Parmakoski to make sure that they got at least the bronze medal. And Finland, well, relieved that they've got a medal and it isn't like 1931 where they go home from the championships with nought.
Yeah, good job. Well, we've got a chance tomorrow with the men, and of course the 30 kilometre and the 50 kilometre for the men. It's not impossible. Russia, David, 2:39 behind. There were 6 at the Olympics at home last year, one worse this year. They'll be asking, I know they're trying to develop from a younger age and get better qualified coaches coming in, but they really are a team that is rebuilding at the moment.
So Norway back to where they expect to be, and pretty comfortably at the end of the day, Mike. I mean, that was a margin of victory reminiscent of competitions in the past there. They go through 20 kilometres, 49.04.7, the best part of 30 seconds ahead of Sweden and Finland, who were pretty close together.
But you could really feel the fear, David. This massive backup team and wax technicians everywhere for Norwegians yesterday and the day before, panicking to get the right wax on the base of the skis and the right structure of the skis. And how they get it so wrong, I'll never know with the richest team at these championships, but it does happen. Maybe they overconfuse simplicity, I don't know, but they're back at the top again today.
Italy home, but about 4 minutes behind, and Slovenia now also for 15. Well, Sweden dreamt of taking a first ever women's relay on home snow. Sadly for them, the dream didn't come true in that regard. The United States were dreaming of their first medal, and that didn't quite happen either.
And Sweden at the races, well, the last since 2009, they were bronze, and then of course the Olympics in Vancouver, 5th, and then since then a second, and first at the Olympics last year in Sochi, and second again, always there or thereabouts.
So for Norway, that's 3 World Championship titles in a row. And through the Ukraine.
Tough times for the Ukrainian biathlon and cross-country. Finance is a real issue, and you need money to pay even for the wax on the base of your skis, and this, as well as personnel. And but I still think they're performing at a high level there, the Ukrainian team.
And I've got that as the 6th gold medal for Norway at these World Championships. And indeed, 6 golds,
and this
3 silvers and 3 bronze, a total of 12 medals, ahead of Germany, who've got 4 golds, Sweden, who've got 2, and Russia have got 1. 12 nations out of 59 who at the moment have got medals here at these championships on day 9.
Day 9, so a few days to go, and I think that, if I'm correct, that brings Marit Bjørgen level with Velby in the terms of medals at a World Championships, gold medals at a World Champs.
Yes, are we counting individual, or are we counting, I think, relays as well?
Look at the cat and mouse there, and Paul McCuskey was trying. I think she did it was a sensible strategy there. Nearly caught out, but then she managed to get in the slipstream into that strong headwind. But the stronger sprinter on paper, and in fact, was Nielsen.
So Norway with their 33rd relay team gold medal in the history of this sport. And another notable achievement, Norway with 78 successes needed before today, 1 more medal to equal the Soviet Union's achievements of 79 medals in women's events in World Championship history. So they've done just that. They're now level historically with the Soviet Union as it was formerly. And there you can see the final result. It was, in the end, Mike, pretty straightforward.
It was back to the usual, back to the normal order. And the weather today, it hasn't played a big factor as it has in the previous couple of races. And then the strongest athletes, again, the Norwegian team, floating to the top.
And another little milestone for the Norwegians. In the history of this particular race, no country has won 3 consecutive 4x5 team relays. Russia had done it a couple of times, Finland had done it a couple of times, but Norway are the first nation to make it 3 in a row. 2011 in Oslo, 2013 in Italy, and now here 2015 in Falun. And hopefully we might get a word. I wonder who's going to talk. I have a feeling that it might be Teresa, because she likes these occasions.
I was thinking it might be Teresa. And let's hope Jeff will bring the best out of the athletes and their little story here. I'm sure he will.
Isn't this familiar?
Feng so nearly ran over the timing line, which is a big no, but delighted. Tears, and you know, I think that's a reflection of the pressure this team has been under to perform and win today.
And Stina Nielsen, we are going to see so much more of her in the years to come. 3 silver medals at these championships, and that is a great achievement and something to really look forward to. You know, she's young and she could easily become, in the years to come, the world's top sprinter.
I think so. Everything she's done here has been so under great pressure. 3 silver medals at what age? 20, just turned 22, so long career. When you look at Marit Bjørgen, what, 35, coming up 35, Stina Nielsen could have an amazing career.
So interesting, Petter Northug has got 2 gold medals, because he got that from the team sprint and the classic sprint. Marit Bjørgen, classic sprint gold, and now this relay gold, so that's 2 for her. And then coming up very shortly, the Nordic combiners on the big hill, Johannes Ridsek, who got the individual Gundersen, and also the Germans who won the team relay. He's got 2, but could quite possibly be the first athlete to get 3 golds here today.
And don't forget Teresa. Remember, Teresa took the skiathlon, so she took gold there and the gold again today, so she's got 2 as well.
Yeah.
Teresa Johaug.
But it could be Johannes Ridsek from Germany, who might ultimately end up at the end of this day as the most successful winning athlete of the championship so far. And there you can see Stina really in her own world there, sprinting down the last 100.
Really tall and strong athlete, great balance and huge self-confidence as well, and she did play that well, just realizing maybe the gold was out of touch and it would have been tactically right to chase Bjørgen down and allow herself to be attacked from Pärmäkoski. She nearly fell there though.
Yeah, she's one of those athletes who's really made the transition from a superb junior career into now the elite world of Nordic cross-country skiing. And I think credit to Heidi Weng for the Norwegian team, because she was very uncomfortable for the first 2.5 kilometers, and then she really got her act together for the second of her classic loops.
Very much lovely tuck position there from Johaug, and that helped her glide faster than, of course, the athlete alongside her.
Astrid Jakobsen having a great championships as well. You know, it's great to see that Astrid is back to very close to her very best. You know, that silver medal in the skiathlon, you know, her biggest distance achievement. And Marit Bjørgen, well, you just have to put days like the women's 10 behind you.
And I thought that Bjørgen and Johaug dealt with that situation. They did not stop pushing in that race. They were never going to win it to the day when the snow came on strong towards the later starters, but they kept fighting and fighting to the line.
Yeah, I think the important thing, Mike, is when you have a bad day at the office, if you can actually diagnose the reasons, then you are confident about putting things right. It's when you have a bad day and you can't work out what on earth happened, that's the worst situation.
It is, and we can guarantee that the technicians, I saw them the last 2 days out in plenty, testing everything and getting it right today for the Norwegian women.
So perhaps a few of the Swedish fans are a little disappointed, but those Finnish flags there, boy, they'll be relieved that the women have saved the credibility of Finland, because I think...
All right, Team Norway, we're missing just one of you guys, but
here's the
it was
winners.
Almost a done race by the time
they
Marit
are.
went. You guys really pushed on each leg today. Congratulations on being world champions again.
Thank you. Yeah, first of all, it's a great revenge for us. We had not so good skis on the 10K, and the relay in the Olympics last year was also not our best performance. So we are so happy today.
And it was amazing today in the relay. The second leg was really loaded with some of the big stars in cross country. How was it for you? You had to go.
Yeah, I was really nervous before the start today because I know that Charlotte will go and Niskan will go, Kowalczyk will go this lap, but I'm really good skis and was a little bit unlucky downhill while I sit on the tracks and another girl sitting outside, but I feel in really good shape, and to go with these girls, it's lovely, and the whole team done a really good job today, the Vaxxers and all the people around us, so we do it all together, and that's perfect.
All right, Heidi, we won't make you speak English, so congratulations and well done on World Championship.
You know, we're 11 girls in our team, and it's only 4 of us that gets to race today, but I think all the other 7 would be strong enough for this team. It's just, it's like, it's a hard battle to get on the team, and but thanks goes out to the 7 other ones because they have pushed us to this level.
All right, very good. Congratulations to them as well. Good job, ladies.
Well, nice little finish there from Astrid, recognising what it takes to get in the team, and an excellent comment there from Teresa Johaug, making the point that this was a team effort and acknowledging the contribution by their waxmen. Who had a few dark hours. They had them last year, they've had a few here as well, so I think it was good that she actually made that point. We're going to take our leave, but not for terribly long. As you can see there, the conclusion of the Nordic combined Big Hill Gundersen competition at 5 minutes past 3 Central European time. For the moment, from Mike Dixon and myself, David Goldstrom, bye-bye from Falun.